a live puzzle, a live novel or book is probably more valuable than tablets in some cases. So it's not really about giving tablets and giving phones. Sometimes we've seen situations where children actually know how to do the math in their head, but they don't know how to translate words into mathematical expressions. So they don't know how to take. I can tell you now, like 2 plus 2 is what? You say 4. So if I have 2 apples and I add another 2 apples, how many apples do I have? And they don't know how to. It's the same thing, but they're unable to extract. Countries are beginning to figure out ways to ban social media for children aged 16 and below, and I'm in support of that policy. I think that you don't need social media yet. Like, you need social life.
I like that. Welcome to For Families podcast, where we discuss everything family, from marriage to parenting, sometimes even separation, divorce, remarrying, everything relating to the family. No holds barred. We keep it 100% real. We have amazing guests who come to share from their experience, their wealth of knowledge, their expertise, and so many of you, from the feedback that we've received, have been blessed, and we hope that each episode will do just that, because there's really no manual when it comes to the family, when it comes to parenting. And we just hope that we learn from others so we don't repeat the same mistakes and we do better. My name is Isabella Adediji. Super excited to be your host. Thank you to everyone who continues to share our content. You continue to follow us on the different social media platforms. And if you're new here, perhaps someone shared the link with you. Thank you. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, and of course follow us on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, and wherever you listen to your podcast, make sure that you subscribe. Yes, let's get the word out there. We love to have your questions. We love your suggestions. And of course, we'll continue to keep it real. So today's conversation is one that I'm really looking forward to. And that's because, let's face it, we're in a digital world. We're in a tech-enabled world. There's so much happening now on our devices, from our phones to our laptops to our tablets. And it's so different. Like, I was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, and wearing this attached to devices. We didn't have the internet like that, even though it was there. We didn't have social media. But this generation, they are digital natives. I'm sure my son and my daughter have figured out some things on my phone that I have not just had time to look at, because they are so eager, they are so inquisitive, and they just feel at ease with these devices. And sometimes you ask yourself as a parent, am I allowing my child too much access to these devices? Screen time, for screen time, against screen time. How can I leverage technology to improve my child's outcome? How can they do better in school? How can they do better in life? But then again, there are all these negative things too, because the internet, can be a very dark place if you don't put the necessary guardrail. So how do you draw the balance and ensure that, okay, I'm not depriving my child of this tech experience, but at the same time, I want to give them a very wholesome childhood. So yes, when it comes to parenting, when it comes to kids and technology, our guest today is going to be breaking it down for us. And on For Families podcast, we bring the best of the best. So you could call him a tech bro. He's raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. He has worked across different companies. He currently is the founder, CEO of Gradely, and a lot of you might have heard of Gradely. For those of you that don't know about Gradely, Gradely is a software company, and they leverage technology to deliver great learning experiences through their AI tutor as well as live tutor. So think personalized tutoring, lesson teacher that we had growing up. They'll come to your house and you wait for them. Sometimes you don't like your lesson teacher, but now you can leverage AI through Gradely and have that personalized tutoring experience, you can also be assessed. So you know where you are and if you're globally competitive. And if you want the traditional, lesson teacher, then over the Gradely platform with their software, you're able to connect with them. So that's what he does with Gradely. And for him, he's really particular and committed to ensuring that African families, both on the continent and in the diaspora, have a chance to use technology to their children's advantage academically and beyond. So grades, Gradely, you get it. And it's really an honor and pleasure to welcome to For Families podcast none other than our guest, Boye Oshinaga.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
So good to have you here. You're
Glad to
going
be here.
to break it down for us because there are some people watching and they're like, oh, this is great, but why must I use AI? Why must I use a software? Why must I use tablets? My children, no screen time, no screen time. Let's do it old school. Did I not turn out okay? When they start pressing the tablet, they will become addicted to it. What message do you have for parents who are like, look, I don't want my kids getting into that tech stuff?
I think, first of all, parents need to understand that the world not only has changed, but continues to change. And that the requirement for a generation is not the same requirement for another generation. And so the requirements are changing as well. And so what you do with tech is that you need to make sure that they are prepared for the world that they are going. That you would, you wouldn't be, you might be retiring in that world when they are the ones taking charge, and you want them at the forefront of things. So the idea is we're moved from an industrial age where people, classroom is still structured like an industrial age where it's like teacher tells you what to do, everybody's writing the answer. We're moving to a world where you don't have to go to the factory, you don't have to go to the four walls of an office in order to be productive or to deliver great work. What you need to do is to be more rigorous with how you are thinking, how creative you are, what kind of things you're producing, how well you're able to communicate your intentions, your ideas, how well you're able to work with disparate groups of people around the world to produce stuff. And those types of skills are not the regular, let me just do my homework type of skills. So this is a very strong reason that you need to embrace that technological frontier, but for good, because there's, of course, technology is both good and evil. Right? The same real train that can take you from point A to B can crush you.
True.
Yes. So the issue is like you don't stand in front of it, right? And so what does it mean to do technology in a safe and in a way that leads to just the best potential outcomes?
We'll definitely come back to being safe on the internet and, what kind of guardrails are in place and what can parents do to mitigate some of the dangers that are apparent with, technology, the internet, is the golden age of knowledge, of information. So, but I want us to come back to your point on embracing technology. So a parent is watching and is like, yes, I've embraced technology, but must my child who is just maybe 2 to 5, why must they embrace technology? Maybe when they're 10, 15, I'll give them a phone, I'll give them a tablet. How do you get them to embrace the technology for the future that we're in and we're going into, but at the same time still limit that over dependence on these devices?
Yeah, funny thing is that even though I'm a technologist, I do not support too early use of technology. So it's not really that I'm a fan of 2-year-olds playing. The truth is, there's a danger in thinking of technology as a way to cover up for time that you don't have for the kids, to take care of them, and that's not the use of technology. Entertainment is not the primary use of technology, and you should not make that the default thing that people then, it's like, we'll just take a tablet and spend time and do whatever and go to YouTube Kids. It's not, that's not the use. So they're not using technology. There's no active use there. When you want to use technology, you have to be proactive about the use, especially when you're starting young. I remember somebody saying, one of the parents that I talked to, she's like, our children listen to audiobooks, and so there's story time. Even though she does story time, but there's now more story time. So they don't watch TV, but they listen to stories. And when they listen to stories, she asks them, tell me what happened in that story. What's the most exciting thing that's happened? That's technology. Well, it's not the same technology as giving somebody cocoa melon, and that's not the same type of use. So you have to, I think that you need to embrace technology as something to add to the mix of things that you are doing. Like a live puzzle, a live novel or book is probably more valuable than tablets in some cases. So it's not really about giving tablets and giving phones. It's about figuring out like, okay, I want my child to do creative tasks with like Lego. That doesn't require technology, right? I want my child to learn how to maybe do a skill that requires technology. Say, I want my child to be able to code, right? So to be able to build apps. Now I'm just thinking of the age of child. I was thinking 3-year-old, but
okay,
let's go further a bit. So it's like, so I want my child to be able to collaborate with other children around the world. Technology. You can't do that without. How will you do that? You need something that's going to allow them to transmit wave signals across like continents to get that to happen. I want my child to learn from some of the best tutors outside of my region. Technology, right? So you need technology. It's a tool. So you use it like that. Think about it as like you have outcomes, and then you want to use technology to enable the outcome. Where is needed. Where it's not needed, you don't need technology. I want my child to read, books, about kid books like any Blyton books. No technology, just the book, right?
Well, some will argue with you that, okay, yes, they can read ebooks, but it's interesting coming from a technologist that, technology is not the solution for every single learning need,
and it's especially more dangerous when the reason for technology is entertainment.
Let's stay on that. I almost feel like you're judging parents. Do you feel judged that you just give your child the tablet, like go entertain yourself? I mean, people do that with TV too. People do that with toys.
Yes.
So I guess in their defense, what's the difference? Because if you leave your kids with maybe Montessori toys or Lego, they're still on their own entertaining themselves. If you leave them with the TV, they're watching something. If you leave them with the tablet, maybe they're playing a game. So in their defense, they can say, well, I'm building their independence and skills. So
there's such a thing as constructive entertainment. Like if your child is spending 5 hours trying to solve a puzzle, right? There are different synaptic waves in the nerves in the brain that are being test trained and figuring out solutions. There's resilience being built. So it's still entertaining, right? If you're playing Monopoly, it's still entertaining, but it's fact. If you're playing chess, it's still entertaining, but there are things that are like happening. You're figuring things out. You're problem solving. You're solving problems. So like that's constructive entertainment. Cocoa Melon is not constructive entertainment, right?
Like just listening to music and cartoons.
Yeah, that's pure entertainment. So the truth about pure entertainment is that you can do pure entertainment, but you have to limit it. Like the way you limit your own pure entertainment. Like how much Netflix do you watch? Like if you're watching
Netflix, right? There's work abuse to pay.
Like, how much can you sit down and you do 8 hours a day on Netflix every day? So the same thing, how can you allow a child to do Cocoa Melon for 4 hours straight? So it's just don't do it.
But 4 and 8 are quite different. but yeah, I get your point. So yes, so limit the amount of pure entertainment and then look for the educational ones. But if someone says, okay, yes, the 4 hours they're spending on the tab is playing games, is that good enough? Or would you say they need to still go old school and say, look, go and get them off the screen? Because there's still that, I want them to be prepared for the future. I don't want them to be left behind. But at the same time, you also don't want to rob them of their childhood. And maybe sometimes as parents, we think, because this is what happened to me when I was young, this is what I want to happen to my children. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, so like when you say that, explain that point a bit. So what happened to me when I was young? Because when you're young, were you not riding bicycles and rolling tires?
Yeah, so tires? Well, so that's what some parents say. All these tablets and devices. When I was small, I was outside playing. I'll do, I'll make things out of counters. I'll roll the tire. I'll go
Yeah,
and do
of course, some of
suwe.
those things there are different ways of doing them now. So I think parents have to educate themselves, right? Figure out ways to deliver to do those same things. Because when you played with bicycle outside and other children were there, you're learning collaboration. You're learning how to play and negotiate and say, "It's my turn. Let me go around first, then you go around later." Like you needed those are the kind of things. So you know the real elements in what is happening, and then find modern day ways of leveraging those elements.
Is there a modern day way of riding a bicycle and pushing the tire?
So, for example, there are modern day ways that there's still bicycles till now, thankfully. There's still bicycles, but there are other motion devices. There's hoverboards, there's skates and skate rings. So there are more ways to do that. But like you can leverage anyone. So it's outdoor is outdoor, but they're more outdoor now. There are more things you can do outdoor. If you want to music devices, there's piano and the rest. And then there's, like I said, Lego, the kind of constructive entertainment toys, right? And then there's collaborative toys that, two siblings playing a game together or playing chess. And then there's also there's a digital version for some of these things. The only thing is that the best case for digital versions is that one, for it to be properly constructive, it means the parents are also involved. Because somebody has to be supervising to make it properly constructive, because anything can switch to not constructive. Roblox has educational value, right? But it's not, 80% is not educational. So if you put the child in Roblox and just doing the thing is, what's coming out of it? But if you told him, hey, I want you to build a world in Roblox for me, and I want you to build a house for your parents, and I'll see it when I come back from work. Now that's constructive. So it's the same Roblox, but he's now figuring out, what does mommy like? What kind of wall? What's the color of the wall? What should I create? Should I put a bed here? Should I see so it's now you now tell the child to present it to you. Let me see the building you made for us. See that's a very different use of Roblox, right?
And it's the intentionality for me, because you're part and parcel of the entire experience, and you will know if the child really spend the time in the educational part or in the the non-educational parts. Okay, so let's move it along, because I know some people were thinking, okay, Gradely education is just talking about constructive play and versus entertainment, but how can we leverage technology to attain the academic goals that we set for our children? Because we want them to do well, want them to come first, we want them to achieve their maximum potential. I want them to use technology, but we also don't want them to be lazy. So again, is that if I give them access to AI will do the entire assignment for them. But
what's the point of that?
Okay, so how do you get them? Or let's use Gradely for an example. I give them access to an AI tutor who's going to teach them and break everything down to them, when they could have gone by themselves to books to go and figure out the answers on their own.
Yeah, just to speak on the AI tutor part, is that the idea is that you are having a conversation with the AI about your learning, and you're reflecting about your learning. And it's the same thing that you would do if you were to get to a book. You're the one that's also saying, the AI still can suggest what you should learn, but you can also say, I want to learn this. So there's still a constructive way, and there's a metacognitive way that you're reflecting on your own learning. And that's how to do it. It's not the AI of my assignment, give me the answer. That's not producing anything. You're not learning.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's not getting an answer to a question is not learning. The learning itself is figuring out the journey to the answers. Like, this is what I thought the answer is. Why is it not correct? Right. Now
so is the AI teacher not like a robot, really, or like AI are you talking to the robot and you're like, okay, robot, why is 1 + 1 not 11? Because if I put 1 and 1 together, it looks like 11. Why is it 2? Yeah. Is that what the experience is like?
Yeah, so that's the experience that we are building. So we actually have an experience now, and then we have an experience that we are launching soon. So the experience that we are building is an experience where you are being assessed, but you're also being taught by the AI tutor. So you are being assessed as in, do you understand this question? Do you think you can solve it? I don't think so. Why not? What exactly do you know about solving this question? Well, I think, and then it's like, but do you know if you did this and did this, it will actually lead to something? And like, oh, I don't know. Do you want to show me? It's like, yeah. So that's a conversation like that. And then it kind of, at some point where there's like a pure learning gap, it's now say, okay, let me show you a video. Let me explain something to you, and uses a video to explain it. see how it works. This is what happens, what happens, what happens. So that's what it is, right? So you're learning that way. It's like a teacher. And we also have supervised experiences. So we have a teacher, physical online teacher, that will also then evaluate. And these people are taught in like psychology, digital teaching techniques and things like that. So they are able to evaluate what the child knows or doesn't know. I think academically, I've seen that frustration. We have parents who are like, this child should be able to read by this time.
Yeah.
This child should be able to count to 1,000.
And that's why a lot of them turn to the Coco Melons. They turn to educational videos or videos that encourage singing and counting and learning because
those are great. So this actually, we didn't talk about those people, like this type of ones, like Lingo Kids, where you go in and you learn how to brush your teeth and you learn how to, or the other more advanced ones that you learn how to do math. There's one that's
like my son really loves number blocks. He loves number blocks.
Number blocks is great. It's edutainment. It's a mixture of education and entertainment. So yeah, like the most important thing about that number blocks or anything is to just be able to evaluate. Now that you've used number blocks for 1 hour, tell me what the gap about numbers is exciting to you now. What exactly did you learn that's new?
True.
That's the conversation. Not just to say is it number blocks, what does that mean? Does that translate to being good in math? Not necessarily. You can, but you have to figure out when that's happening and where the blockers are. And that's what Grayly tutors are great at. Grayly tutors are people who speak to you and then understand what's really happening with your learning, where your gap really is. Sometimes we've seen situations where children actually know how to do the math in their head, but they don't know how to translate words into mathematical expression. So they don't know how to take. I can tell you now, like 2 + 2 is what? You say 4. So if I have 2 apples and I add another 2 apples, how many apples do I have? And they don't know how to. It's the same thing, but they're unable to extract the mathematical expression from the wording. So like a teacher will find that out, right, and be able to explain to the child that 2 anything is still 2. Right? Whether it's apple, whether it's this, whether it's whatever it is, like, and then try to help the child understand that. So it's like gives more and more of that word problem type thing. And so that's what you need. We've seen parents taking tutoring earlier and earlier. So children are taking Grayly's lowered our age for starting to use Grayly from 5 to 4, and it's because of this thing where parents are like they can start early. And I agree. You can have a guided learning experience with teacher. You get so great teachers sometimes they're like, hey, what do you want to learn today? Because it's at 4 years old, 5 years old, there's issues of focus, there are issues of boredom.
I wonder what that would be like. I just feel like if my son should start using Grayly at 4, his sister who is 2 going or 3 will probably also want to be part of it. So are you going to lower it because they go to school? So
yes.
So it's listening to you. I want to know whether you really feel at some point that technology will fully take over, that we won't need teachers. I mean, if this AI tutor is really that great and is modeling the exact experience of a physical teacher, then what hope is there for us that we studied education? Do you see a future where technology fully takes over, and is that what we should be preparing for?
I think in the place of in the workplace, technology is going to take over. I don't think in education it's going to take over. I think in education it's going to complement human teachers. Why? Because there are soulish elements. Now, even in the workplace, there's only some parts of it, maybe 60%. Like real takeover. That's what the futurists are predicting. It's completely takeover.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a combination of robots and AI, and they're doing all the knowledge work.
So what then do we do?
Yeah, maybe find other things to connect to other people.
Okay.
Offer, like the things that only human beings can offer human beings. Like that feeling of going in the evening to meet your friend and have a chat, and the chat is just wholesome.
But I hear people chat with ChatGPT and
is it wholesome?
But I don't know because I've not done it.
Because do you know why it's wholesome? It's like you touch someone. There's a feeling of impacting someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you impact AI, what does that mean? Yeah. So like there's a soulish element, and especially in teaching, inspiring can be done by another human being. Yeah. So if AI is the one trying to inspire you, it still falls short of like true inspiration, right? So I think that's it. It's like saying having AI parents. Let's try that. So how well will the child be parented? Let's
Yes.
see. You see what I
Yeah.
mean? Can AI
Yeah.
replace you as a parent?
No. No way.
No way, exactly. So that's something that AI won't replace. So that's the thing about it. But I think what you're going to have is like human supervised AI tutors. So like, and we have humans in the mix, humans in the loop of the learning. So it's like right now in Gray's AI tutor, we're combining that with the human tutor part so that the AI tutor reports to the child and says, see this child, oh, he's still struggling with this thing. Do you want to help this child? And tutor was like, I'll take it up. And then so when the meeting with the teacher comes, the teacher is just like, what's the reason why you're struggling here? What's happening? Right. So that's that partnership between technology and human beings is the future.
Well, this answer already begins to address the question I had around safety, and something that has come through in this conversation is just that intentionality and also being very present. Like, even if you're giving your kids devices, be aware of what it's about, the software, what the game is about. If you need to even sit down with them to explore it together or set them a task that you come and review, so they don't just feel like they're left to their own devices, literally. So what are things that parents can put in place, guardrails, to ensure that their children are safe? They might not be able to be there 247, but they know that, okay, I have peace of mind because X, Y, and Z is in place. Because even some of the schools mandate that our children use devices and you're not
Yes.
going to be there. So, what are the things they should be doing?
There's first of all, there's technology that manages devices right now, such that remotely or you can actually see everything that's happening. You can control time. You can control. So in Queen's College, you're talking about where we are deploying devices across the school. Those devices are remotely. You can shut down a computer from afar. We have limits on websites they can visit. There are places, apps they cannot open. So those things are the basic things that you should have. So safety software that restricts usage. I know that Microsoft and some other different OSs have ways for you to control another computer, so you can determine how many hours, for example, that computer is accessible, and you can track everything that's been done. You can, in the era of AI, you can see flag anything, even if I don't shut it, even if I don't prevent the child from accessing it, but anything that seems funny, prioritize it and let me see it. In Greatly,
Wow.
if you do tutoring, all the tutoring sessions are recorded, and the recordings are available. But you could also then search for, like, when did my child talk about, when did this teacher talk about, did this teacher talk to this child in a rude way? You should be able to QA that. So consider yourself like there's a role in technology that we call quality assurance. You are the quality assurance specialist in your home for children's online learning. So that's how to think about it.
You are the quality assurance person in your children's learning. Yeah, so you can't just um, abdicate that responsibility to just the teachers
Yes.
and technology. You
Yes.
still have a role to play in all of this. Now, what are the innovations that parents should look out for when it comes to technology in providing a wholesome experience, not just academic attainment, but that full on experience? Maybe sometimes, when I think about technology, I'm like, imagine if we had virtual reality when I was in secondary school. There are certain things that even if you're not a science student, but you want to know how they are doing one chemistry experiment, you can have it visualized, or you're a literature student, you want to see how that story would have played out, you can have it visualized. So what innovations should parents be looking out for?
So you said a few of them. I think the idea is you need to also be very experimental, because again, like, technology is changing significantly. Before, vibe coding was something that you used to create amateur apps. Now vibe coding is becoming something you can use to create full apps.
Please, what is vibe coding? Do you know what vibe coding is?
Right. So vibe coding is essentially speaking to AI to build you something,
Okay.
and you can build anything.
So I can just say, AI build me.
an app that does this that helps me to choose my selection of my clothes in my house. I'll take you pictures of all the clothes in my wardrobe, and you're able to suggest which one I should wear on which day.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Okay.
People have not started using this enough for
Okay.
them. It's
So
very powerful, and so you just really go ahead and it says, okay, send me all the photos of your wardrobe, and you take all the photos, and then you now say, I like you wearing this. I corporate on this day, corporate on this day. Give me a schedule list of what I should wear every day, and if I come to ask you on a day, you present one to me.
now let's take it to the family. Like, I vibe coding can assign chores, like, okay, these are the things that need to be done in the house. These are the kids I have.
And it can
Come
say
up
it's
with
time for it can build an app that basically comes up with a schedule for whose time it is to clean the dishes.
okay. I wasn't thinking like that. I don't think we've caught on to that.
Not yet. That's what I'm saying. It's very techy people that are at that level.
Okay, bring us in. Bring us in.
But you can get there now. So like, and if you now combine it with your Amazon Echo in the house, like to your speakers that's connected to the internet, and you connect that with the
or
AI.
Alexa.
Sorry, so Amazon Echo, like Alexa. So essentially, with Alexa, you should be able to get audio feedback on specific things. So in that app that you create on an AI to say, tell us whose choice it is, you can tell Alexa to tell us every morning whose choice it is at 9 o'clock. And so 9 o'clock, Alexa will say, hi, wake up everyone. Today is two persons' turn. And that's it. So like these are things that are possible. And so that's a lot of innovation. I think that's the kind of innovation that parents should try out. So that experimentation, like take it as something that you're also learning, they are learning. And kids can learn from each other as well. So like one of the things that we're doing in Gradely is having some of these classes that are extracurricular, so like vibe coding or coding and AI, and then having like creative writing and so on. It's like you want to be able to explore those parts of the kids. I know your parents like the swimming, music, and tutoring combination. I like that too. It's okay, gymnastics,
football, arts and crafts.
mix it up,
Yes.
mix it up. I think that's putting them on those schedules and say, hey, you have arts and class, you have swimming classes. I think that's great. So that's how to leverage. Like I said, always think about it as real world, digital world, and the combination rather than just digital world. And in digital world, think about it as something that you are the quality assurance person on, and that you are the person accountability person on for what your child is doing. You can now get the help, like in Gradely, get the help of a tutor.
Yeah.
Right. So that way it's now you tutor child, but you're still playing a role, which is a role of, so what have you learned? So what is the thing? What's your report? What's happening here? Like, so you're basically in that situation, you can do a lot of great things.
I know my kids tell Alexa to play nursery rhymes, and they've heard that instruction from us, and they just go now and say, Alexa, play nursery rhymes on Amazon Music. And yes, there are audiobooks, short stories that can also be played. So I'm just thinking that, parents are like, okay, yeah, I hear you. You want us to experiment. You want us to be front and center. Let's not leave the technology to itself to do all the work. But where do they start from? Like, not everybody has an Amazon Echo or Alexa, and technology is everywhere. So maybe like a crash course as a parent in getting techified and
I like that idea.
adapting with
Actually,
the
we should do a webinar about that. Like starting point, DIY,
yeah,
do it yourself, tech parents.
Yes,
Yeah.
like, okay, I've heard all these things, but what do I do? Where do I start from?
One of the easiest ways to start is to do things, research things together and chat GPT. Like, that's a really interesting way to start. So it's like, how many countries are in the world? So do like the trivia, right? And then in that trivia, where your child doesn't know, let's find out together. Yeah.
Interesting. I don't use ChatGPT yet. I don't know why, but
Which one do you use?
it's called perchance.com.
Perchance.
That nobody really knows about it. It's desktop.
But it's also AI.
Yes, you just put in like prompts, and it can give you like templates. You want to write something, you want to rewrite something. So more from like the writing aspect. But I feel like this year we owe it to ourselves to know about tech, not just from a knowledge, but from a experiential part where because we know and we've experienced tech, we're able to make the decisions of what works for us and our families. But if not, we'll only just be listening to Boye. Boye said we should do this, and Boye is not in our family, so Boye cannot know that this is not what we need at this point in time. So I think, yes, that's a challenge to all of us, because we can't run away from a present and a future of tech.
I said, get help when you need help. Get tutors, get platforms, get people.
Now let's talk about social media, because there's a lot of pressure that is attached to showing up online. Everything these days seems very curated, and young children are having access to these websites and apps, and as a result, they are putting pressure on their parents, they're putting pressure on their guardians, their caretakers, and some responses can be like, you know what, I'm just going to ban you completely, so no social media for you, so that you don't end up being so pressurized. But then they can go to school, go to their friends' houses and still access it. So you're almost like, what exactly do? I don't buy you the phone, but you're still finding a way to use the phone.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is that if you notice around the world, countries are beginning to figure out ways to ban social media for children aged 16 and below. And I'm in support of that policy. I think that you don't need social media yet. Like, you need social life.
I like that.
Get your social life first. Because the thing is, as developmental stages of a child, there's a place where you want to make the child understand their intrinsic worth. And that's, it's when they begin to be more self-aware, age 7, age 8. And then once you start to, before you enter teenage, you want them to now have their values to which they do not compromise, even if they were pressured. And that's still, social media has not entered. Then you now get to the point where, so by the time you have gotten to that point where they are able to deal with peer pressure, they're already 16. So that's when you can say, what's going to face the world. But unfortunately, in a situation where that policy does not exist, I don't think Nigeria is even thinking about any of those types of things. We are not even worried about pornography, for example. So talk less of, because the first thing you even deal with is pornography for young children. So if any country that has not dealt with that cannot be talking about social media ban, we don't know we're not ready for any of that. So, but I think that we need to. There are dangerous places on the internet. There are dangerous places. I had like an experience with pornography as a young child, and it affected me till I was an adult. So,
but was that with the internet, or
it was the internet? Because my father was super early on the internet. So the internet came in 1995, and I think I got into the internet in 2005. So 2001, 2002, and then stumbled upon 2003, 2004. I think it's like can be life changing in a negative way. So you want to the similar thing to exposure to drugs. Social media is a drug. Let's not joke around it. It's just a drug that adults think that they're in control of, like alcohol. That's all. Yeah. You get what I mean? It's just majority of adults feel like they can deal with it, but it's an actual drug. It's a dopamine hit factory, right? So, like me now, I don't have social media on my phone except WhatsApp. So that's how much I'm making sure that the drug doesn't. So to just open up all of that drug to kids, I think it's a very dangerous thing to do. I think what you want to do is moderate it, just similar to entertainment. I said pure entertainment for younger kids. Social media, anything that's dopamine hitting, it's the same thing. Like how you moderate ice cream, you moderate burgers, you moderate chicken. What I mean, so that's the same thing. You moderate social media, and if they're being exposed on peer group level, then hopefully they're gotten to the point where they have values that go beyond peers. When somebody says, something's on the internet, you're like, sorry, I'm working on my assignment. I can't do that now. You hope that your child is that child that can do that, right? So hopefully you got to that point. So even when they see it in school, they're not, that's why sometimes better, especially when there's no policy to ban it, it's better to actually give them some social media time. To say you have this phone, but you only see it 2 hours a week. Yeah. So you go and bring it. It's like a special thing. A Saturday. See your fine phone that you don't see. I don't use a lot. Yeah. So they do their social media then, and they're like.
And it's supervised.
Like supervised.
So you can catch things on. Perhaps in your case, if your dad and your mom were supervising what you were doing on the internet, they would have easily
known.
Picked it up. So I think everything still points back to our responsibilities as guardians and parents in ensuring that our children are safe when they are accessing and using these technologies.
Right.
I think, I'm listening to you and I'm just saying, okay, I've heard all of this, but when it has gone beyond my control, my child is already addicted to social media. If I take their phone, they're going to, have a meltdown.
I have a parent that the child taking their tablet.
Yes.
What complete meltdown?
Like complete meltdown, and there are some kids that maybe they're teenagers. It can even get physical. Yes.
So, but at that point, see, the thing is like same thing. How do you deal with a drug addict?
Well, you're supposed to rehabilitate it.
It's rehabilitation. What you do with the drug addict is proper rehabilitation. If your child comes in and says, "Mommy, I'm addicted to cocaine," what do?
You take them to rehab, like
Yes.
to me.
So because some of them, like it's so serious, take them to rehab. But there's rehab structure. What's rehab structure? Is that first of all you need to completely abstain. Like you need to.
So you tell that parent that they should take the device
Completely, but
cold
you need help.
turkey.
You need help.
Wow.
You need someone to. You need a third party authority. Yeah, so that's because it's a very serious thing at that point. They're already addicted, right?
Yeah.
So you need an authority to say that we're going to work with you this term. You get your phone back, but in order to get your phone back, you need to do this complete term without a phone. I know you think that is hell. I know you think that it doesn't make sense, but if you are able to do it, this is the reward for doing it, right? And we'll be here to help you along the way. Like essentially, it's tough love. So that's what you need to do.
So you're not going to give in to it. You just need help in ensuring that they see the
What's
big
the point
picture.
of giving in? It means you don't want to solve the problem. It's fine. You can postpone it till when they are 30 and they tell you, "Mom, you're a very terrible person."
Well, true.
And they're like, "You should have helped me. And my mates were we are just busy doing this. And I told you, and you're supposed to help me. You didn't help me." That's what you want. You don't want that, right?
No, you don't. So it's tough love, like you said. And your final words to us when you reflect on your journey as a technologist and now working with families. What's your biggest takeaway?
I think family, like you said, is the bedrock of society. Some of the reasons why I do what I'm doing is because we're trying to build a better African society. And empower the next generation of children who become adults and who become knowledge workers and become the change makers. Yeah, so I think that our job is both individual and collective, that we need to care for how our children turn out and how the community's children, this is our own children. Yeah, it takes a village, right? So you want to do more. Like you want to, because some people, the reason why their child turned out certain ways because of the social group, because of their family, friends, children, and influence their own children. So you want to just be an advocate for better families, better kids that are, smart, well behaved, and who already have their own values in place to hold themselves back and to control themselves. So I think that's the dream, right? And I think that all of it is possible, with quite a number of some intentionality. I think that intentionality is what we see in Gradely parents. In fact, there's a time when we told ourselves that we're not going to accept any parent to come to Gradely unless they've shown intentionality. So that helicopter parenting thing is just like, you guys just take this child, I'm coming. When I come back from Dubai, I'll look at it. I think we're really worried about that. I think that some periods in life that you have to do that, but as much as possible, be on top of things with your child. And more than ever in this generation. And the children will thank you for it. I think that's the thing you have to understand. Because people think, what would the children thank you for? The gifts, the ice cream, and the providing of devices and games, or the intentionality of all of them. I think the most important would be the intentionality.
Very good place to bring this conversation to an end, with a lot to think about our intentionality as parents. And there's no intentionality without that time commitment and being present and being resourceful. So there's only so much you can outsource to technology, but there's a huge gap that parents need to fill, and they can only do that when they're intentional. Thank you, Boye, for sharing with us,
Mhm.
giving me a lot of homework because I'm now thinking, you know what, maybe I can use technology more
Right.
than I'm probably using it now. And I can have an open mind. So I'm experimenting, I'm learning, and I'm choosing what works and what doesn't, as opposed to I don't do this and
Yes.
then you get
Right.
left behind.
Yes.
So
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you very
Vibe
much.
coding. Did
Yeah.
you know about vibe coding before? It's not for families podcast. You learned about vibe coding. Thank you,
You're
boy.
welcome. Yeah.
Welcome to the part where I put you on to all the good stuff. I tell you what I'm loving now. So you guys already know I'm a foodie, right? So I'm really loving gourmet popcorn called Pop It Gourmet Popcorn. Just look at the packaging. They say we eat with our eyes first, and he's giving premium. I mean, salted caramel. I love it, and you can see it has information here. Puppet shares the story of the bond between two sisters living together, exploring new ways of making the snacks they love in their kitchen their own way. Puppet holds a special place in our heart, and we hope you experience the pop of happiness with every crunch. Taste it, love it, share it. Onyi and Chichi. And it says our handcrafted salted caramel gourmet popcorn is especially made with care. It's well popped corn coated with the finest quality buttery caramel and a dash of salt to create the perfect symphony of taste and texture. My mouth is already salivating, so why don't we what? I think you know what we're gonna do? We're going to pop it. Yes, because sometimes the taste of the pudding is in the eating, so the taste of the popping is in the chopping. It's not too sugary, and I think what I love about it is that it's crunchy. There's something about popcorn that you just see the pack, it's all squeezed up like this because there's no more air in it and it's now soft. But this one is really crunchy. It is exquisite, gourmet. It's sweet, but not that sickly sweet that you're like, I might have to stop myself. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I love the packaging. I love the taste. And I love the story behind it. It just shows a lot of intentionality. And here, you can actually go to their website. It says discover our other flavors and order online. www.trypuppet.com, and you can check them out on Instagram at puppet.ng. And it has NAFDAC. So, and if you're into like your weight, which you should, you have nutrition facts. You can see how much calories. I'm not going to tell you that because you probably tell me, well, you tell me to enjoy myself, right? So yeah, I really like the salted caramel, and I like the fact that it's fresh and it's really crunchy. And yes, I've popped it, but I'm going to stop now. So tell me, what are you loving? Enjoy this with friends. You're watching a movie at home, or you're going for a picnic. I just want to give it as gifts for like hampers and things. The packaging is giving quality. Trust me, they'll love it. So yeah. I'm sealing it now because I really need to stop. And that's what I'm loving now. Welcome to the part where I try my possible best to answer your burning questions. So I'm excited because this comes from one of our viewers. His name is Jones the Compare, and Here it goes. Please discuss siblings' rivalry, both as children and adulthood. They grew together, but adulthood burnt off the love. What's a lasting situation to this? Or maybe what's a lasting solution to this? Wow, that's a loaded question. What I'll say is before you can find a solution, you really need to know what the problem is. What caused the friction? What caused the problems, the issues when they were children? Have those things been addressed? For example, let's say it was the fault of the parents. Mommy and daddy favored one child over the other, or they continue to compare them. Oh, why don't you do like what your brother is doing? You're always failing, but look at your sister. She's so good. You're stupid. You're a fool. You're not good. You're good for nothing. But it's like, it's sad, but you have parents who actually use curse words on their children. You have parents who pit their children against each other. So we need to get to the root cause. What is the issue? Because these are just symptoms of a greater problem. So the rivalry, did it start because one person was doing very well, and in an attempt to encourage and inspire the other person to do well, the comparisons were being made? Then if it's a case of temperament disposition, like this person's temperament is like, look, I don't like trouble, I want to be alone. And then this other person always wants to be in your face, very outgoing, extroverted, and forward. There's bound to be tension. They will both clash. So it's also understanding your limits, is understanding what works for the other person. You know, as children, you're growing up in the same house. You will have to endure it because you don't have a choice. You can't go and buy your own house or move out, except you're abroad where you go and report your parents to the police, then they move you to a foster home. But most times you don't really have a choice. So you just deal with the situation. But you know that when you become adults, you're not really going to send your sibling. So now that you're adults, it's important that you respect boundaries. It's important that you understand that it's a choice to be close as siblings. It's no longer by force, and geography will not help you because you can choose to live in different houses. And even family occasions, you can decide when you come for family occasions, you sit in this place, another person will sit in that place, and you will just minimize the communication. So there needs to be intentionality. There needs to be a lot of self-awareness on both parts. Where have I gone wrong? What can I do to become better? How can we work to improve this relationship? And like I said, on both parts, both of them need to want the same thing. It's not okay if one sibling wants to be close to the other, but the other one doesn't want to be close. Then you're not on the same page, and it's unlikely that both of you will get your desired results. So sometimes it might also be a compromise. Like, I really want to be close to this sibling, and we'll be going to each other's houses for sleepovers, and we'll be talking every day on the phone. And maybe what's comfortable for the other sibling is like once a week we chat on the family WhatsApp group, and then we see occasionally at the family event. If that's all you can get, take it and then build on it. You can give the other sibling a reason to go deeper, but that can only happen when you address all the underlying issues, and there should be a place for forgiveness. If one sibling hurts the other one, and it can really run deep, it's good that they forgive, but they take time to also heal, and you can't really rush that. But the first step of seeking the forgiveness is even admitting that you did something wrong, and you're trying to make amends, and then you let the other person speak. You're not trying to defend yourself. You're just really looking at, look, what do I need to do to move the needle forward? And sometimes it can come at a huge cost. Like, you sacrifice your pride and your ego because you know what you want. So I hope this has helped, and I wish you all the best. And really understand that in some families, there will be some siblings that will be closer to each other than others. And sadly, that's life. Even in your friendship group, you find that you're closer to one person over the other. So yeah, if you have a burning question, please send it in. DMs are wide open. You can leave a comment on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok. And yeah, I'll try my possible best to answer your burning question. Well, are we already at the end of this episode of For Families Podcast? I don't want to go, but I really hope that you've enjoyed today's episode. And please keep the feedback coming. It's our podcast together. You are a family member of the For Families Podcast family. Please keep the questions coming, your suggestions, and also comments. Yes, let's know how we can serve you better. If you're not following us on our different social media platforms, please check us out on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram. We're also on Apple Music, Spotify, we're on YouTube. Subscribe, tap the notification bell so you know exactly when each episode drops. Like it's hot, 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 hot. I remain your host, Isabella Adediji. Keep it locked here. And very soon we're coming back with yet another episode. Bye.